Good morning, friends. This is Pastor Ginny with the Daily Word. As you've probably already heard this week, as we're starting off this series, Lies We Love, we've been basing it off a couple of different books, one by Adam Hamilton and one by Kate Bowler, or not really based off of them, but inspired by them. And so, kind of in that same spirit, this week, your pastors are discussing other books that have inspired us in our faith journey, that have been particularly formative for us at different points in our faith. And so the book I have to tell you about today is called Let Your Life Speak by Parker Palmer. And I first encountered this book in seminary, actually in a vocational discernment class, which what a great class to be able to take a whole 3 hours one semester, that was just about learning to listen to the voice of God inside you. Essentially, how does God direct you through the things you are drawn to, through the things you love? That concept, which is really the core concept of let your life speak, meaning, let your life, the life that is yours intrinsically, let it direct you, let it speak to you, because God is in that, whether you know it or not. That concept was sort of foreign to me. Some of you have heard me talk about before, especially when we did the sermon series a few years ago, This Is Us, where we told a little bit of our own faith journey in those sermons. Some of you know that although I was raised in the Methodist Church, I was formed by some other denominational traditions in school and things like that. And so an idea that was impressed on me, maybe not directly, but indirectly, from early in my childhood, was that my desires, my wants could never be the same as God's desires for me. I didn't have the Wesleyan understanding of the image of God still being present in us, but kind of distorted in some way. I had more of an image of just this separation, that the things I wanted for myself were necessarily opposed to the things that God wanted for me, which living that way kind of sucks the joy out of Christian living, you can imagine. And so I think although I was beginning to come to an understanding of what it really meant to have the Spirit of God inside me and guiding me, and what it actually meant to have Jesus in my heart, which was a phrase that I heard a lot growing up, this book really helped open that concept up for me. Just the idea that, as I said, that my and your idiosyncrasies, that the type of work, the passions, the loves that I find myself drawn to over and over again, that those could, in fact, actually be the voice of God in me, that could be God's direction in my life, that could actually be the voice of vocation, that although in my life, in my heart, there was obviously always sin at work, because we're all broken people, and none of us have yet reached perfection, right? Perfection in love. That although sin was at work, that God was equally or even more so at work, and that God was drawing me toward God's self through the things that I loved, through the person that I was, through the person I was becoming, and the person I had always been. And this book really helped me at that time come to realize what the voice of God sounded like for me within myself, how it was different from other voices that were, really critical or really harsh, that the voice of God was kind and gentle, and to learn to discern those things. And I've returned to this book many times. I've probably read it. I've read it numerous times. I've taught on it, but I can think of like 3 specific instances, once in seminary and then 2 post-seminary, that I've read it and have found different parts that stood out to me, different truths that have helped direct me back to that inner voice when I've needed to discern a path or needed to make important decisions in my life. And so, Let Your Life Speak by Parker Palmer. It's a short little book. It's only about 100 pages, and so if that sounds like something that would be up your alley, or just something you've never thought about before, how the desires, the loves, the passions that God has already given you, how listening to those can intrinsically direct your life. I would direct you toward this book. It's a great one. So I'd love to hear in the comments what other books have shaped your theology, have formed you in your faith. You know that all of us are always reading and have a never-ending stack of books on our desk and our night table and all around us. So feel free to comment below and let me know what you're reading, what books have formed you, what books have shaped you. I hope you'll continue along with us in this series. I'm grateful that you're here this morning. Have a great day.